What's up guys, how are you all doing today? Hope you're having a lovely day. Well, I know one thing, Tesla has been having a fabulous week so far. Just after the earnings call, their stock basically skyrocketed. Let's get into the details in this video. Let's go. Alright, so the Tesla stock was at about 250 to 260 bucks. I believe it was like 258. And after the earnings call, in the after hours, the stock actually went up 40 bucks to about 290, 298. Now that is actually a lot, especially when you're considering it, that happened in, a few hours just during and after the earnings call. Normally this never happens. Their stock does not change much or at all unless something big happens. And the reason the stock changed is there's been some really cool things that have happened in the last quarter 3 of 2019. There's some really cool things that Elon has actually stated in the earnings call, which I'll be talking here. So the first one is that Tesla actually made a profit. Yes, that actually may surprise you, but this is actually their fourth quarter that they made a profit. I think one was back in 2015 or something. Last year, the last two quarters, Q3 and Q4, those were also profitable, and we're seeing the same trend here. Q3 profitability, and most likely in Q4 profitability again. They made a profit of about $144 million. That is not a lot, especially considering how big the company is, but they at least made a profit. Normally they would go in a loss. Now, I want to expand on why they actually made a profit this quarter and not the others. Number one, China's Gigafactory. Now, the China Gigafactory has been going on since January, and obviously Tesla is paying for it, and because they're paying for it, obviously with investor support and all that, they have to basically splurge on that factory. They have to splurge on that factory just to get it up and running within the time frame, which is totally fine because that factory will actually be outputting so many more cars that the amount of time that it'll take for the return on the investment is not that long. So it's totally worth it, especially considering how Elon actually stated he wanted the Gigafactory built this year. I cannot say enough about how hard China's team has actually worked on that, and it's just amazing what they're doing. The second point I get onto how in the beginning of this year, in Q1, January, February, and March, they were delivering their Model 3 across oceans, basically. So in China, I don't think they delivered. So in Europe, they started deliveries in Europe. And the reason you had a decline in deliveries is because they produced so many of them, but they were all on ships. So they actually got delivered in Q2 of this year because the ships just took that long to get to Europe, especially due to the logistics problems that Elon had, and he had to fly out there, whatever. That was a mess considering what it was, but it wasn't that big of a mess anyway. So. The third reason is that generally Q1 and Q2 aren't really the main popular times for most companies to actually thrive. Those are the times where companies usually get their lowest results or the lowest revenue. They sell the least amount of stuff, right? Because it's winter. Many people don't like actually going out to A, buy a car, and B, because it's Q1, it's like literally just after holiday season. So most people have already saved up money, spent it, enjoyed the holidays, and now they're either going to be saving up or they just don't want to spend at that time. So what Tesla did is they took advantage of that whole scenario. They knew that demand in Q1 would be very limited, or it would not be limited, but it would be limited in the sense it would be the perfect time to send cars all the way to Europe. In Q4, you wanted to turn out a profit so that Wall Street and whatever, they see that you're doing great and awesome, whatever, right? But in Q1, you had the perfect opportunity, and he took advantage of it. He literally put them on ships, took them to Europe, and delivered them there. Tesla has something called ZEV credits or ZEV credits. Now you might be asking, what is that exactly if you don't know about it? So basically in the United States, you need to have a certain amount of ZEV credits to sell a certain number of gas cars. Now how do you get ZEV credits? You get ZEV credits by selling hybrids, plug-in hybrids, or purely electric. So due to Tesla having their entire lineup of cars being fully electric and emissions free, they have tons of ZEV credits to give out to other companies that may need them. So for example, one of the buyers was Chrysler. Chrysler literally paid Tesla just so they can sell their other gas guzzlers so that they don't have to stop selling them in the US. Now, in the earnings call, Elon, if you didn't listen properly, he literally just stated he doesn't really consider it as much of a big reason why they became profitable in anything. But then Zachary came on and he said that we literally sold $100 million worth of ZEV credits. And considering how Tesla was literally just profitable by $144 million, I think that's a good chunk of how they actually got there. So that's another reason why Tesla actually became profitable in Q3, that they had an incredible amount of ZEV credits. Q3, summertime, July, August, September, right? It's summertime. Everyone is going out. You want to buy a car now? You want to go out to the dealership? You want to buy a car. How will those auto manufacturers, the ones that make gas guzzlers, how will they make money? They'll make money by selling you those cars. Because people are out there buying the cars and they need ZEV credits, manufacturers have no problem paying Tesla just basically free money just so that they can literally sell their cars in the US. Now, because Tesla is a smaller company, this actually makes a bigger impact to Tesla than it does to the actual auto industry itself, because it's such a big industry and most of them are more or less, they're linked together. They don't necessarily hate each other. They hate each other, but they don't hate each other. So now the fifth reason how Tesla actually became profitable was that Tesla actually has a reserve of money that people have put down for self-driving. For example, I'm a buyer, self-driving say $7,000, I believe it's $6,000 right now, full self-driving, right? I give Tesla my money, I give $6,000. Obviously, the cars today don't have full self-driving yet, but I'm basically paying to get a car that has self-driving sometime in the future. Now, for example, if Tesla actually cannot deliver on that promise, they have to give me back my money. But because they have actually unlocked Smart Summon in the new V10 update, which just happened in September, they can now take some of that cash and add it to their accounting principles, or they can add it to their actual physical cash that they have to use on hand. That generates another profit. Now, how much do you think they've actually made by that? I actually want you to tell me, just like, click up there, just tell me how much do you think they've actually made just by releasing some of the money into basically their own bank account that they can now use because they have released the Smart 7 update. So those were the 5 reasons how Tesla actually turned out a profit this quarter and not the others. Most likely we'll see a profit in Q4, definitely. Q1 is a bit too far off, I won't be able to tell. But I would expect Tesla to either make a small profit or there'd be in a loss. That's my expectations. And honestly, I am not worried. Wall Street says this all the time. Oh my gosh, Tesla made a loss. Just like they said in the beginning of the year when they had the Q1 results. They're like, oh, Tesla's doing this. Oh, Tesla's doing this. Oh, they'll be bankrupt in 12 months or something like that. That's all BS. Everything is BS because the oil manufacturers want to slow this down as much as possible. The more people know that Tesla is actually going to go bankrupt, or if you put it in their thought that it'll go bankrupt, then the less people are inclined to actually buy a car, because what's the point of buying a brand new car if the company's going to go bankrupt in a year, right? It doesn't make any sense. So that's the thought that the oil companies wanted to put into the consumer's mind. And honestly, the oil companies have tons of money to slow this down. It will literally be inevitable that eventually we will actually all drive electric or drive clean source power. Right now, it's battery electric vehicles, BEVs as some call it. That's not really necessarily to say that's a bad thing. It's just that right now in this phase, we're only using BEVs. Now imagine 20, 30, 40 years in the future. It could literally, if some next Wi-Fi battery, I don't know what's going to be happening in the future. But basically, it's going to be, we cannot predict it. We literally cannot predict it. 10 years ago, we couldn't predict that Tesla would be even here today. They thought it's a small company, it'll die out. It's just meant for like a niche market. It's one of the big players. It's valued over more than Ford, actually. So anyways, thank you for watching. I can literally talk about this forever, so thank you for watching. And I would love to actually talk to you about it. So please comment down below. What are your thoughts? You know, might just reply. Probably will actually reply. I try to read and reply to every comment I see. So there you go. So thank you for watching. See you next time. Peace.